Science. Paranormal. Drinks. Three tortured souls. Entertain, educate, recreate, and intoxicate.
All right. What's up, guys?
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
Cold.
How are you?
Good. Cold.
Cold.
Yeah.
Cold.
I hate this time of year.
What is it? A low 60 degrees down by you, Tim?
It's actually a very balming 30.
Oh, yeah. That is pretty cool.
No, it's too cold.
Nice. Kenny, you snowed in yet?
No, we've had just a couple dustings, but that's about it. Not a big deal. And doesn't stop me from getting to work.
Ah,
It's going to be one hell of a snowstorm if it prevents you from getting to work.
Yeah. It's got to be like the entire snow accumulation of the planet has to drop in Amherst, in Buffalo, in order for me not to get to work. But I'll still make it.
All
you
right.
could probably do it drunk, blindfolded by now.
Oh my God, yeah.
How does
Again,
he-
when I leave
He
here,
makes it home after the show every
I
time.
know. I go,
Every
oh
Friday
my-
night, every Wednesday, first Wednesday of the month. That's how he makes it home.
Yep.
Drunk and stumbling.
Oh, the
All
fourth
right.
tortured soul is here.
Yes. Let's see. Who is
Absolutely.
that? Reminds me. Who is in the room? Hey, Taryn. How are you? The fourth soul is here tonight.
Yay.
Taryn wants to make sure we saw her. There's another post. Victoria Tori. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Taryn still thinks I look like Chevy Chase, so that's good. And that's it for now.
Okay.
We got a low count audience tonight, so we can
Wow.
pretty much
Wait a
do
minute.
whatever we want. This might be a
Quick
somewhat
show.
shorter show because I know we brought a couple topics that we all want to talk about. So we discussed having an open mic night. And then I'm like, well, I got a couple things I want to make sure I bring up. And then I think Tim and Kenny are like, well, I have something I want to bring up. So we thought we would just do more of a paranormal smorgasbord. And just whatever we come up with, we'll talk about. We'll obviously answer questions, follow the comments. And then if we still had time and wanted to do more, we could take some questions, open mic, do that for a little longer, but we'll see how it goes. So
Sweet.
anyway, that's my opening comment. You guys got anything you want to open with?
It's cold.
It's cold. Tim is really stuck on it being cold.
My
No
God,
more
get a
out-
blanket.
There'll be no outside experiments for this kid.
What you need, Tim, is a Skinwalker Ranch hoodie.
I do.
It's warm and it glows in the dark, so it's freaking.
Of course
cool.
it does.
Ah,
Taryn's
it does.
shirt, the shirt I got from her at the last Gettysburg, she didn't tell me it glowed in the fucking dark.
You
So
JD.
I was going to I had it was going through the house, turning off the lights, going to go to bed. Fuck about shit my pants. I'm going to turn off the last light, walk by a mirror.
What's on me? What's on me?
It's like, what the
They told you to stay the hell away out of that, or stay out of the nuclear power plant there.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I like about leaving here. When I leave my office at this time of the year, because it's
Mhm.
dark out, so I turn the light out, and I have a Cthulhu glow in the dark statue. I have planchettes. I have the whole cast of Casper, the friendly ghost up there. They all glow.
Nice.
There's so many things
Hey,
that
Bob.
glow in this office. It's really cool. It's like I usually turn all the light off and I stand there for like 30 seconds, like
It's like a little kid in the bedroom during Halloween.
yeah, yup.
All the shit that glows. It's awesome.
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes in the original Ghostbuster, or one of the Ghostbusters, I think it was the original, when they're in the elevator and they have their power packs on for the first time. And it's just like having a nuclear power pack on your back. And he like turns it on and it does that humming. And they
The
start,
guys like
yeah, they're in
Yeah,
an
because that
elevator.
extra 5 inches is going to save you from a nuclear blast.
That's my favorite. Like I still like get tickled over that.
That's funny. All right. Well, we can dive into it. So I know we each brought a couple things that we want to talk about. So I am going to defer and let's see who should go first tonight. Tim.
Oh, okay. Well, we are halfway through our haunted object challenge.
Ooh.
So far, so good. I am getting ready to send out for the third round and shuffle them up. So far, no one has quit. So, or bad, I guess, if you're really wanting it to be a really scary experience. But so far, so good. I'm learning a lot. I'll talk some more when it's over about different things I should do. And if anybody wants to redo it with something that they have, maybe they can skip. I mean, I don't think it's anything horribly procedurally killing, but it's things I could have done better. It's things I should have thought about before just to make stuff flow better. But yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm not really, it's not terrible. It's not. And I think it'll be easy. I really hope someone just does it again just for fun.
Right.
Maybe, I've had some feedback with, I kind of think maybe a month was in retrospect, maybe a little too long, but then I've had some feedback that maybe a month was probably not long enough. So I don't know.
I think
Does it take time for the evil to come out of the object?
Yes.
And is it like a controlled release or a timer?
I don't know. I know, Aaron. I'm waiting on. I'm getting some back still. So when they get in, I will send them for sure. And for Halloween, I really wish I would have had a clown to send to Taryn so that she could have a clown in the house on Halloween. That would have been really good. I think she would have appreciated that.
She's waiting for her next thing, Tim. I think it should be another clown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
The evil has to get comfortable so you can slowly invite it in. Okay.
I think we should just go to like a Goodwill store, just buy all the dolls on the shelf, put in a big spring-loaded box.
Yes.
That would be good. All right.
Yeah. So it's not anything groundbreaking, but I think it's fun. I think it's something people can do. And I hope it like stimulates people into like just thinking of how can I test something that doesn't seem like it's testable. I don't know. I hope it's valid. I hope it's good. And I hope when we talk about it, I'll learn more and hopefully get good feedback for whoever wants to do it next.
Okay.
I don't think a month would be too short because you want people to be able to start writing down enough data, like see patterns or something like that. If something's actually happening, I would expect it to at least for a month. That gives you enough time to maybe see some kind of pattern, as opposed to maybe like if you only had it for a week, then maybe you had one experience, but by the time you have that and start thinking about it, you have to send it back. So I think a month was pretty good. Anything longer, just that adds on, you make it 2 months. Now that you just doubled your amount of time that the entire study is going.
Yeah.
And when we're talking like what, 4 or 5 months?
Yeah. There's four people, 4 objects.
Yeah.
So
now you're 8 months in if you double it. And that's just to get everyone on rotation.
Yes.
And if everyone gets everything in on time, so figure 9 months, at least an entire pregnancy before this thing is over.
Yeah.
Well, Bob says you have to buy the entity dinner first. I don't know what kind of experiments he's doing at his house, but
2 Happy Meals. Please.
Sounds kind of felony-ish.
Yes. All right. Cool. All right. Kenny, what do you got?
I want to bitch.
Bitch away.
I want to complain.
Just sit
do
back and relax. Here we go.
We're
touched on
here
that.
for you, man. We are here for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we touched on this on Friday on my show, and because I think somebody asked about it, and I actually ran off to get this gadget. So this is the gadget I'm talking about. I am nicknamed it the sex toy glow stick because it's a ghost hunting gadget. I actually named it Kenny's latent sound. Wait, Kenny's latent sound motion detector on a stick. That's the official name.
Dude, we got to work on your product names. Awful.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It doesn't snap. There's like no.
yeah.
You
So
can't even take the first letter and spell anything.
You should just call it a shit stick.
when you turn it on,
I like the
glows.
dildo.
it makes noise. It glows. Well, this one is green because I put a LED, a green LED. But when it sees motion, it does that. And I saw this. I saw this actually a couple years ago at a conference, and people were selling them. And I didn't really ask. I didn't ask how much. I didn't really get into it because I saw it. And I mean, I do mechanic work. I do construction work. I do a lot of stuff around the house. I've built things before out of like cheap materials. And I saw it. I was like, well, that's PVC. It's a PVC pipe with an LED and it's a motion sensor. No big deal. It's an electrical box. I mean, the one that the original one has a different box, but it's still an electrical project box. And I was like, all right, it's cheap tools or cheap parts. No big deal. And then I saw it the next year, the same place. And I asked about how much it was and found out that it was $120. And I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. And then I saw it again at another conference a month or two later. And a friend of mine, against my pleading, purchased one. And she spent $120 on it. And I really started looking into it more. And the point of my bitching here is there's 2 points actually. One is to figure out what the maker is advertising. Like, what are they saying it does? What are they saying these ghost gadgets do? And can it really do it? You know, can it really do it? How can it do it? You know, if it's way out there, if it tells you it uses the energy of ghosts to communicate, the fuck does that mean? Seriously, think about it. Don't just take energy as the buzzword that it is. Think about it. And the second thing, there you go.
Drink.
The second thing is, like, what's the device made of? And I think this is probably my biggest pet peeve across all the gadgets I've taken apart. What's it made of? Because I see advertisements saying highest quality materials, most advanced technology for this. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Most advanced what? Things that have been out for decades. And honestly, when I went through this, my getting into more detail, this cost $120 to buy. Now, again, this is the one I made. The original one has a slightly different box and is slightly shorter. Here we go, Tim.
Of course, he made one that's bigger.
But it does the same thing. I went up to the original one. I took pictures, got close up to it, and was able to acquire pictures of the inside of it, the wiring underneath. So I was able to find all the same parts. I didn't buy the box because the one I found was like $10. That's the cheapest I could find it. And I picked this up for $5. So I was like, well, I'm not selling it, so I'll just go cheaper. But okay, retail price, $120. How much do you think it cost me to build this? How much do you think the parts cost for this?
$20.
35.
Dave's closer. It cost me exactly $26.21.
$26.21. Seriously?
$26.21. Yeah. And that's, I could actually knock it down a few bucks because like some of the stuff like PVC, This is 1-inch PVC. I have this in my house. I have scraps that I could have used. I mean, you can do it cheaper, but just the idea that it was $26,
And they sell them for how much?
$120.
120.
And this took me maybe an hour to put together. And most of it was basically plug and play. Like I plugged it in. The only thing I twisted in was the speaker, the little speaker on the bottom. Where is it? There it is. Right there. That's it. That's a little speaker. So many things, like the speaker cost $1. That's it. It cost $1 for the speaker.
That's not a bad return on your investment. About 94% margin.
And it's just, I guess what kills me is that I mean, I don't like ghost hunting gadgets at all. I really think most of them are just a waste of time, waste of money. That's right.
The motion of the ghosting.
But the idea
that be on a t-shirt.
You can that you can build these things. It's very simple to build them. I didn't solder anything. Nothing was soldered. Everything was literally like either put the wires in a connector, screw it down, tighten it, and then plug it in. So everyone can do this. And I don't think people take the time, especially all these ghost hunters. And I'm sorry, I'm grouping everyone together. I'm stereotyping, but ghost hunters see it on TV and they think I have to have that. So they go online. Who's selling it? Okay, this $120, $150, $200, $300. I got to have it because it was on TV. And if I paid $120 for something I saw on like Etsy, because it's advertised as a ghost hunting equipment, and this thing showed up my fucking door, I'd be so pissed off. So I shouldn't be hanging.
so
pissed off.
I have a question.
Sure.
What is that? What was the application for that? Like what is it supposed to?
So it's supposed
measure?
to. It's a motion sensor. So what it has, it's up top here. Let's see. Right there. That is a PIR sensor, a passive infrared sensor.
Yep.
And it just senses the change. Well, it looks at the infrared energy, right context, coming off of objects. And when it sees a difference, when it sees a change, it triggers. It triggers the alarm, or whatever you have plugged into it. Because it literally has a plug. So I'm going to circumcise my thing here. You like that?
He's getting a lot of mileage out of this.
Oh,
it's got a regular jack on the end of it. I can plug another LED
jack
light into that. Or I can plug an alarm or a speaker or something into it if I want to. And it all runs off of a 9-volt battery.
So you can make it more annoying.
So it basically just sits there. You put it in like a doorway or in a room. And if it goes off, if it senses a difference in temperature somewhere in the room within its field of view, it'll set off. Doesn't mean it's a ghost.
I think you can still buy the motion detectors that have the chime on them. That would probably do the same thing for.
Yes.
If you don't want to build one yourself and you're not as crafty as Kenny, you can probably buy one of the chime ones on Amazon or go to Walmart, and they're like $15. Does the same thing essentially.
Yeah. So that's I was thinking just like you, Dave, and I was like, all right, what else can I do? How can I make this cheaper than $26? Because I am a flea market whore and I look for deals anywhere. Like if I can get it cheaper, I will definitely do it. So I'm looking around. Home Depot sells a 40-inch long white LED strip that has a motion sensor on it. $10. And so I got this. This is what it is. Let me see. So it's a battery pack here. There's your sensor right there. There's the dome on-off switch and an LED strip. It lights up. It has a remote. So I can turn it off and on with a remote. But I just put a PVC stand together, just scrap PVC, and now I have a stand for all of, well, $10, maybe like $2-3 more, so maybe $15 in PVC parts that I just put together. But so cheaper, and I can even go cheaper and cooler, maybe a little spookier. Because, I mean, what's some of the most common types of ghosts that you hear about?
Kids.
Like kids, exactly. So if I want to entice a kid ghost, say that
Careful now.
For argument's sake here, let's say
Felony.
we think ghosts are real. I think ghosts are real. And I was like, how do I want to get a kid? I don't want to say anything now. You fuckers. I want to put out a toy for a kid to play with, to interact with. Okay.
Not much better, but okay.
Yeah.
So here I put it in a doll. So I stuck it here, and I'll show you. I'll show you. There's the sensor right there sticking out, right in the middle. The LED's got a sticky strip on it, so I took the backing off and wrapped it around the inside of the dress, so it lights up. And then I just sit it here, wait for it to go off. It'll go off in 30 seconds when it doesn't see movement. And then it does the same thing. If something moves in front of it, the dress lights up. And it looks cool. And I'm sure it's got a 5-volt power supply going through the LED strip. And the ends, you can expose the ends. So I think I can actually tie in one of the alarms. So it'll go off that, and it'll work off of four AAA batteries. So that, I mean, the doll I picked up at a yard sale, that cost me $1. So right now I'm at $11 for a motion sensor that would probably be cooler to take on a ghost hunt.
We're going to see this guy on Shark Tank soon.
I thought that too.
You can see it. Wait. There it goes. So it sees the change in temperature, lights up. There you go.
Get a Marilyn Monroe doll and hook a fan up to it, and it blows the skirt up, and you'll make millions.
Oh my God. But I mean, this is what gets me. Like, you can get this stuff. This has no mechanical or electrical expertise. You don't need any of that. You buy it, you plug it into the battery pack, you shove it in there. I cut a hole in the dress in the middle for the sensor. That's it. In 10 minutes, this was done.
That's all she wrote.
And that's it. Yeah. So instead of $120 for a glow stick sex toy, or $10, $11 for a doll.
Careful.
Yes.
Not a kid toy.
Not made for kids.
So basically, layman's term, the 120 and the $10 one do the exact same thing.
Yes.
Exactly.
Except for the alarm, the beeping
No,
noise.
okay. Which I kind of,
The
the alarm is a little rough.
That's it.
Yeah,
But that's an extra $1. Like, literally, that's an extra $1 for the alarm. But yeah, I mean, that's and it's
crazy.
I guess what really gets me. Go ahead.
So I'm sorry. This is like so you could just buy the strips and put the strips up in wherever you want to go ghost hunting,
right?
And it's the same thing.
So that's it. It comes with the LED. This is the battery pack. See, and like it just fell down. So I didn't even glue this onto the stick. It's just hanging there. But that's what gets me. It's like if you, I mean, this stuff hasn't been shown to work. I mean, we don't know if ghosts exist. We don't know what they're made of. We don't know if this can interact with them if they exist. We just don't know. And I mean, if we did, that's one thing. That's a completely different story. But we don't. We're just looking at a motion sensor. That's it. So the sensor that's in here is the exact same thing that's in the other one. And you can get it for cheap. I mean, you can really get them. The sensors I got was the exact same one that's in the original, but you can get just a sensor without this whole this larger body and adjustment. There's an adjustment in there, but you can get them for much cheaper. I can get these, I think, for like $2 or $3 each instead of $5.50, I think, each that I paid for it. I guess overall, I'm just saying, guys, if you're going to buy this shit anyway, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Not all of us have just extra income anymore. You know, everyone's kind of tight. Everyone's looking to get the best deals possible. And I know people save up and they want that gadget because they saw it on TV or saw it on a video or they saw somebody else using it. Get that idea out of your head. Take a step back. Look at it. And take a deep, close look and see what it's really made of and see, hey, maybe I can find this, because it took me all of like maybe 10 minutes to find all the parts, all the exact parts. It only took me a couple minutes to find them. And then you can order it, slap it together yourself, and it saves you some money. Plus, I mean, the only thing that I'll give credit to the maker of these things is that they didn't make a claim that it detects ghosts. So that was actually something I actually liked. It just says for ghost hunting, but it doesn't tell you that it detects ghosts or captures them or whatever. It signals an event, which if that's all you're doing, then go to Home Depot and get a $10 one, you know, and then save your other $110 and buy a fucking science book and learn how to do the fucking method. Sorry. Whew. All right. Rant over. I'm done.
Just the psychology of it is, though, for the person that's watching it, it's flashy if it comes from a ghost hunting store or if it comes from a Paracon, and it has some type of cool package around it, and it's packaged like the doll, it kind of, when you break it down very simply, like you could just buy the strip. And it'll you could stick it on the wall wherever you're ghost hunting, and it'll do the same thing as the doll or
pretty much
your two different sized dildos that you have over there.
Dildos.
I love it. You're right, though. You don't.
Yeah,
it's
the same thing.
You can put this on a hanger, or just like a piece of tape. Get a piece of duct tape, and you can duct tape this to the wall. Or any kind of stand. Like that's why I did this one, the PVC one. It's light, it comes apart, and you know it's really easy to put together and stick it, down a hallway or in a room, something like that. It's real simple to do, and like I don't want to like just trash people that make these gadgets, because I know they're trying to make a living, they're trying to make some extra cash. I get it. I'm not so tolerant with the ones that make outrageous claims, JJ. And, that just are out there. But there's people out there that make, like my friend Bob, he makes a lot of these motion sensor things, but he does them as like more of a novelty where they play different music. And like he's going to make me one that he said it'll play like Scooby-Doo for me, the theme. And it's a cool novelty. And it uses the same kind of sensor.
I want one of those.
Yeah, I know. And he does all different kinds. Any music you want, he can put it on it. And that's pretty cool. I like it. And it has that kind of like, I hesitate using the word novelty because it makes it sound so cheap, but to me, it's like a novelty. It's like, oh, I got a Scooby-Doo, motion sensor. That's cool to me. I'd buy that, I would definitely buy it, but just a oversized dildo thing, like I wouldn't buy this because there's nothing to it. It's very, there's no excitement.
So
You're not using it right.
I'll say this, I guess an analogy that this is just kind of hitting with me, a long time ago. I used to be like a name brand person, not that I was into name brands for everything, but if I had a headache, I wanted Tylenol. Do you know what I mean? Or
right.
And I remember my wife going, "Why don't you just go buy some generic acetaminophen?" And I'm like, "No, I'm going to get Tylenol." And so she was like, "Read the back of the fucking box, dumbass." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And so like literally, I was young and we were, and I was stupid like that. And she was like, see, the active ingredient is acetaminophen, and ibuprofen's the same way. And so you can get like this that says Kroger's on it, or you can pay $10 more for a name brand.
Right.
And this is kind of what there's like a funny analogy. Just the psychology of it's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because you get into the brand of it itself without thinking about just the meat of it and how it works.
Yeah. That there's just, I can't get over that hump. And maybe that's the psychology that confuses me. I can't get over that hump of why you would spend so much money on it. But that is a stereotype, I think, of a general behavior of ghost hunters, where they don't research the equipment that they're using and they just go and buy it because they saw it on TV and this is something that a lot of the ghost hunters I saw at the last conference, they were all joking about. They know if it lights up and beeps, they love it. They got to have it, and that's what this does. And again,
it lights up and beeps. That's the criteria.
It's not just this thing.
All right.
It's not just this. There's other things. Like there was what was it? It was a box that was it created EMF.
The EM pump.
It's one of them. And I took it apart. And when I looked inside, like this thing was selling for $100 or something like that. And when I opened it up, it was 2 toy car motors that spun a magnet that was hot glued. Like everything was hot glued. The magnet was hot glued to the motor, and the motor was hot glued into the corner of the box. Nothing was screwed down. Nothing was secured. It was all just hot glue, and it blew my mind. That
real.
So much of this stuff, it's cheap to make, it's cheap to get, and again, like if you're not mechanically inclined, it can be scary. It can be overwhelming. Where you look at this and you're like, "Holy shit! I have no idea how it goes together." And then maybe you're gonna pay the price if you really want it. But there's definitely, if you take the time to research it, there's alternative ways, or alternative tools that do the same thing. And that's all I'm saying.
All right.
Rant's over.
Rant's over.
It was only 20 minutes. It's fine.
It was a good one.
It was good.
Thank you. I tried.
Excellent. All right. So my first one, this came out of Dr. Jim actually asking about data loggers.
Oh,
because he read the paper we did and he wanted to replicate it. So we started talking about the different data loggers, what we used, and the one I used for that, it's old. It's been around for a long time. I don't even remember when I first got that one, but you can still find them, but you're still talking $200 to $300, sometimes $400 for those. And you order it, and I think the company is upgraded to where you can just go to their website to download the software and the drivers. But back when I got them, and actually when I ordered one a couple of years ago, they still sent the disc with it. I'm looking at all my computers going, the fuck am I going to do with this?
You're looking at
it had a very old box with a very old Apple USB disk drive and popped it in and it worked, but it was getting old. And Dr. Jim was asking, so he went and I think he searched a couple of different places and he found these. So I bought 2 of them. It's the GQ EMF 390, and if you're looking, you can find them for as low as, I think I got these for $80 on Amazon.
Did you say GQ?
GQ. It's a GQ 390. It'll make you look good in the ghost hunting.
I don't know about that. That's got to be a pretty good EMF meter.
There'll be a lot of alcohol with that.
Let's just say it's not bad. right now here, I'll show you. I have this, and I'll talk about. I did actually collect some data with it to see how it compares to the old one, and of course, I have charts and graphs to show. That'll be fun. So this thing does
$93 right now.
for $93.
Yeah.
It shows EMF, radio frequency, and electric field. So the interesting thing is when you get into radio frequency, there's a setting where it has the RF browser and spectrum. So you'll be able to tell within a certain amount of accuracy for $80 what frequency and what spectrum you're seeing for the radio frequency. But anyway, the first thing I played around with the electromagnetic field. So it is a triple axis. You can see it running here. It actually has an on-screen graphing options. So it does X, Y, and Z.
Cool.
And you can go in through the settings and select collect data. And it starts data collecting. It logs a reading every second for RF, electric, and electromagnetic. And it gives you the electromagnetic. I believe it spits it out on all three axes too. So all you have to do then is go to the website, download the driver, download the software, which I'll admit it was not the easiest thing. They need to be better about that. The Mac version, it doesn't download, doesn't work. So I ended up breaking out the old PC, and within probably a day I had it working. So I thought, okay, we'll play around with it. So it's nice. It has lights, it has a graph, it data logs, rechargeable batteries. And you don't have to have this hooked up to the computer to data log, which isn't bad.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I calculated based on the amount of space it took for like the hour or two I ran it. I think you can almost run it, and I'll redo the calculation for at least, I want to say 16 hours. And then you can have it either stop or it'll start overwriting where it fills up. And it does date time stamp it. So I'm thinking, okay, initially looking it over, not bad. So let's set it up and compare it to the one I have. So let me share my screen here. So how does it compare to the one that I used in the study we did? All right. So I'm going to go through this real quick. So just looking at the specs, the older one I had, the one that we used in that study, sorry, and we got a typo there already, but we'll fix that later.
What the fuck, Dave?
I know. I put these together at the last minute. It should be 2,200 and 2,000. So, okay, fine. He's going to be a dick about it. We'll just go in and correct it right now. And like, everybody wait while we make Kenny happy. There we go. Anyway, so the old one I had, it had three ranges really. It could do 2,200 to 2,000 milligauss. Resolution of, depending on what range setting you had it on, 0.01, 0.1, and 1. Accuracy was 3% plus 3 decimals. 3 decimals, 3 numbers after the decimal. At 50 to 60 hertz. And then if you were in a different range, it was 5%, which isn't too bad, but it would sample at a rate of 0.5 seconds. And the bandwidth, it covered 30 to 2000 hertz. The new one, this GQ390, it's 0 to 500 milligauss with a 0.1 resolution, which is not bad. It's more or less within the range of the other one, except that, some of the lower ranges, you're just not going to get the 0.01 resolution, but that may or may not matter based on how you do the analysis. And this one logs once every second. And the frequency range or the bandwidth is 5 hertz to 150 kilohertz. So it's got a much larger, broader spectrum. So not too bad. The other difference is this one logs to pretty much a built-in internal memory. The other one I had, it could do that, but you were only limited to 200 data points. So you always had to plug it into the computer. And the interface is an optical interface. So it's an optical interface that plugs into the meter, which then goes to a serial to USB converter and then into the laptop. That might become important later. So what did I do? I set it up. I let it run. I let them run about 6 or 7 inches from each other. The one on the top is the triaxial, the one that I've had for a while. The readings on the bottom, that is the new one. So it looks like it's more or less and the scales are exactly the same. So I made sure all the axes were scaled the same. I think what you're going to see, though, is with the newer one, the GQ 390, it's a little bit lower. It's picking up about a half to 1 milligauss lower on some of these peaks. The other thing you'll notice is it seems like you see more data points. There's more resolution here. And that's because as you're looking at this, if you remember the 0.01 versus the 0.1, that's what it resolves down to. So it's not, the resolution isn't quite as good, but still not a major problem. So what I'm looking at is I'm thinking these are pretty good. It's not bad. It compared an $80 one compared to something that's $200 or $300, not bad. So I thought, that looks good, but let's actually overlap it from the same starting point, because when you plug them into the computer, you can time sync them to the computer's clock, which is actually, I think, really useful, because most things you should be able to time sync to the computer clock, which is typically on the network, and you'll get an accurate time sync. The problem I saw was, it looks like there's an offset, right? So I lined these up on the time, and there definitely is an offset where the newer one actually seems to be picking things up sooner. So you start thinking, well, why would that be? And that actually causes me a bit of concern, because if I'm trying to find an exact 1 second correlation, if you're off by a second or two, it gets to be a bit of a concern, because then you got to talk about a window and did it fall in the window. So I think what could possibly be happening is, because the older one has an optical interface that has to go from the meter reading it, sending it through the optical, going through the serial USB converter, and then logging it on the software on the computer. That could be what the delay is. The other one, it just logs it right to the internal memory, and then you download it later. So I don't know, maybe the other meter I had, they didn't have an offset on it. The other thing is, the other possibility could be the newer one. Maybe it's just got newer sensors and it's just processing things quicker. I don't know. I'm not going to take them apart, because I plan on using them for some field work. So that's one thing I noticed. The other thing I noticed, and I'll get to this when I show how it compares. I did one where I ran one upstairs and one downstairs just to see what it looked like. But one of the things you do is start looking at the histograms of what the frequency of different readings were. And again, similar pattern, but I think what you're seeing here is a difference in the resolution, which we talked about. So you're not getting quite as much detailed data here. It looks like you're getting the same range of readings, but you're just not getting the detail, because this one is resolving down to a extra position after the decimal point. I started overlaying things to see what one of the things we did in the paper, and they do now, is look at the standard deviation, or the Z-scores. So then I just wanted to see how they would compare, because you're looking for things that would hit over certain thresholds, and again, fairly similar. That one we don't need to look at. Then just running some of the descriptive statistics, so that the average on them is not too far off. 2.72 on this one, or 2.73 if you round up, about 2.5 on the new one. The standard error is 0.01. The median is not too far off. The mode is pretty close. So standard deviation is a little different. Not horribly, though. But for the most part, they're not that different. So actually, I bought one of them, and I thought this is good enough. I'm going to buy another one because now I want to start putting them in different places and see what they do. It's a vicious fucking cycle, man.
Science, bitches.
It's awful. So what I wanted to do then is kind of see if you put them in different positions in the house, is it picking up, similar or same things? So I put one upstairs, one downstairs. They were opposite ends of the house on different floors, but they were aligned exactly the same. So you line up north, south, east, and west with the handy dandy little compass on your Apple Watch, which is probably one of the more useful things I use on that thing. Line them up, and you do see, surprisingly, it's picking up very similar things. Of course, upstairs, where much further away from all the electronics, the Wi-Fi, all the stuff downstairs, you're going to get a lower reading, but at the same time, it's picking up things that are very similar. So then, last thing I'll comment on these. Then I started saying, okay, I want to overlay the exact times and see how it looks. But I kept noticing it would eventually overlay, and then there would be an offset eventually. I'm like, what the fuck? So I looked at it. One problem is one of them records one reading every second. So you get 60 readings every minute. The other one, every once in a while, it skips a second. It'll get up to like 59 or 58, then it'll go to the next minute mark. So the one thing I haven't done yet is starting them and then erasing or keeping the first couple time points to line it up. And then you can erase that and then just continue the times together and seeing if there's still any drift on it. So that's the one thing I'm a little hesitant right now, because if you're trying to use them together in different parts of the house to sync them up, that's going to be a little bit of a problem. So I don't know if it's just time stamping them wrong or if it's actually still getting the same reading. So I got to run them side by side, the two new ones, run those side by side, and then take the first time point and then just sync them up from there and not worry about the actual times, but just know if you start at whatever reading or whatever time, every second is a data point, and seeing if they stay synced up like that, or if it's actually losing or deleting some data in there. So I'll admit though, for $80 a piece, if you want to get into data logging, it's really not bad.
This one's not, it's not a wash. This might be something for your first go. It's worth it.
I gotta say, I would always say no, the more expensive one I've tested for years and years and years. But on the other hand, I'm looking at thinking for $80, and based on what I see so far, comparing it to the one I have, I'm not sure you'd miss much going with the expensive one.
Okay.
So let's see.
Yeah, it sounds like so somebody wants to like jump in it and see if it's for them. Instead of like, well, how much is the expensive one?
Those can go $200, $300, $400.
Okay, so a nice difference.
Yeah.
There's a question for you.
Yeah, let me get rid of this thing. No, it wouldn't normally. When you use it normally just to see what the EMF trends are and you're walking around your house, nobody cares if there's a second lag or a delay. But when you're trying to do field experiment work, research work, and you're trying to nail down within a second or two if another piece of equipment went off or somebody had a specific experience at a certain time, that lag can get to be a problem.
Okay.
But then again, you can correct that and just say, did something happen, yes or no, within a 3-second window? There's ways to correct for that. It just makes it a little more complicated for people who aren't used to doing that and analyzing it.
All right.
So
that was good.
Too bad Dr. Jim, I haven't heard from him in a while, but I would say it's probably a reasonable piece of equipment if people want to do some data logging and citizen science and try to collect some information with something that it's not a ghost light stick dildo, but you can actually do some real. I think you can do some real experimental work. The other thing I don't know is how well these will hold up in the field.
So
I mean, they feel okay, but I don't know, not the quality build of a
don't drop it.
$300 one.
So what would you recommend someone, like, what would be a practical application that someone could like grab this out of the box and put it somewhere and like, this is what I'm going to look for?
Well, you could very easily collect a real baseline data run of
Ooh, real
EMF. You
baseline.
could also make sure your computer and whatever your watch is exactly synced, which you can easily do. And then you time sync these, you run them, and then you keep track of if you have any subjective personal experiences, write down the exact time to the second, go back later and see if it actually correlated with any changes in EMF, because we always hear on the shows people, oh, whoa, there's an EMF, there's a spike there, I heard something over there. It's like, well, okay, but there was already 10 other spikes before you heard anything.
Mhm.
So there's ways you can get exact information, and you don't even have to run statistics. You can just pull it up and see, is there a spike only at the time I noticed something happen, or was there only a spike when another piece of equipment went off? Or if you believe EMF is rampant in a place and could be changing in a way that they think could cause you to have, or your body could interpret as something anomalous, you'll be able to do that with this stuff. You actually could have an intelligent data collection and conversation with somebody looking at EMFs out of a reportedly haunted location.
Okay. Cool.
All right, let me see. Put it on my wish list.
Oh, look at that. A banner.
Question.
Oh, this one's not on sale.
So, yeah, I found one for 98 on Amazon. Or
Yeah, I may.
93.
You know what?
There's one on 90 for 93.
I think I may have I've been ordering these. I ordered them around Black Friday sale, so I may have gotten like 10 or 15% off. But even I'm telling you, even at $100, I wouldn't shy away from it, because I mean, Kenny just said you can go buy a PIR motion sensing light strip for 120. And no offense, man, I like what you're doing, but I think you're going to get more valuable information out of this thing.
I am not offended.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's
Pretty
yeah.
cool.
I definitely see. I would rather spend the money on that, because that gives you data. It gives you a real good data that you can use. I mean, that's a useful tool.
Yeah.
And this one is not. Like this one is more useful than that. I mean, and again, like when it comes to this thing, it's only going to tell you a difference in temperature. It's not actually movement.
right.
So you could have there's a possibility that a temperature change might just set it off. I haven't tested for that yet, because that's what it's looking at. It's looking at the infrared spectrum and looking at the infrared energy coming off of objects in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a change in temperature, I wonder, if I put this in front of the stove, I wonder if I turn the stove on
As it heats up.
I wonder if that'll set it off. It's
Hmm.
interesting. Oh, we're going to be melting some plastic tonight.
Could you put it in front of a melting plastic? Could you? What
Well,
about in front of a duck? A duck board?
Now I'm like brainstorming like a heater. What if you're in a place and the heater kicks on, and that heater goes up?
I think doesn't the passive infrared, doesn't it need to have a certain amount of mass? Because I know some of them you can set it to where it won't pick up like small animals. So I think it has to have a certain amount of mass to it. It's not just the heat.
If you're talking about like a more advanced and expensive infrared, then yeah. But these cheap things, all they're looking at is a difference in heat. So if
I thought it still had to bounce off something though.
It has two, from what I understand, there's two slits underneath the dome,
Mm-hmm.
and it's looking at the infrared light coming in. One slit
Going out and
then
coming back in,
yeah.
right?
So it's
But that
looking
would,
at that.
something's got to absorb it then, though, right? It's got to have enough mass to absorb it. Oh, we're gonna have to have a whole fucking show on this now because now I don't remember.
Yeah.
Why don't
Yeah.
you take a radiator, like the plug-in radiator?
I swear I remember because that's kind of not too. It's pretty similar to how the non-contact thermometers work, right? And I
Yeah.
remember you play with those, and if you shoot them through where the heat on a heater is coming out, it doesn't pick it up. It picks up the wall behind it when it hits it. Same thing if you put like a
See,
dry ice thing there.
I had a different outcome.
Really?
That
Maybe it's a different.
I had it set up pointing above the stove, so
Mhm.
between the stove and the range hood,
Mhm.
and had it on. And as soon as I turned the flame on, the heat came up and it picked it up.
The temperature
The
change.
temperature change, yeah. So
Was it? Could it, yeah. I'm
I
trying to
don't
remember.
because I remember somebody saying that. Like I used to way back in my ghost hunter days. Like I thought that was the shit. And I was like, yeah, it's reading
How-
a ghost. And
I guess how
someone-
much did it come up though? Was it enough to explain the flame, or was it going? Was
I
it
don't remember.
hitting the wall, and the wall just happened to be heating up a little bit quickly
Yeah,
with the heat
I-
coming off the oven?
I don't remember. I mean, this is like my early days of trying to figure out how
Okay.
to do actual experiments. And I remember it going up quickly,
Hmm.
but I don't. And that could be a flaw in my plan here is that I may not have accounted for the diameter of the cone that
That
it
could
was
be.
reading, and it might have had the flame within that range. So I'm gonna have to redo it again because I
But
have
even a-
those.
But even
I
a
have
flame has some sort of mass to it, as opposed to just heat or I don't know. I all I remember is I did it, and it was like an aha moment for me. I'm just like, oh, how about that?
Yeah,
It's actually picking up the temperature of the fucking wall behind it. It went right through the dry ice cloud.
I'll have to see because
Uh-oh,
I know like
experiment time.
the guy I mentioned earlier, Bob.
Mhm.
He had told me that he made a comment that his sensors that he used picks up cold, and I was like, no, I don't think that's how it works. And he made a comment about how he had an ice cube and he slid an ice cube across
Mhm.
like the table and it picked it up. I was like, oh, well, it's not picking up the ice cube per se. It's not picking up the cold. It's seeing a temperature of the ice cube, and then it's seeing the temperature behind the ice cube when it moves out of the way. And that's your difference in temperature. That's a difference in the infrared that it's picking up. Interesting. So yeah, now I'm gonna have to play. I'm gonna have to play with that. Because now you got me thinking.
But there could also be a difference between a motion sensor and what's actually in a non-contact
Right.
thermometer. I mean, the idea is the same. I think it's still some sort of infrared sensor, but it could be there might be a difference there.
I think there's a deceptive term by calling a motion sensor because it's not actually sensing motion.
No, it's a passion. It's just an infrared sensor.
Passive infrared. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's doing. And we all commonly call it a motion sensor, but that's not what it is. So that's interesting. Now, shit, I'm gonna be up all night. I'm gonna play with the stove. Click, click, choom, click, 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 choom.
Yeah,
the dress is lighting up.
I'm all over here. Like Dave was talking about a flame having mass. I was like, well, that's interesting. And now, flames have weight.
Yep.
1 pound. It's 0.3 kilograms per cubic meter.
Oh boy. Rabbit hole.
Fucking this
rabbit
is
hole.
I mean, obviously it does, but to like learn it and then think about it is kind of interesting.
We're all going to be up all night tonight. Yeah, because the infrared thermometers, light bounces off the surface of the object and detects the radiation emitted from the object. So I guess Kenny's could have been picking up the flame, I guess, or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I again, I'll have to redo it because it was very, very young in my, or very early in my my transition to, hey, maybe I should learn how to do science.
Yeah, but look where it took you. That simple
know.
type of experiment.
Shoving motion sensors into the doll's pants. That's where I am today.
That's where he is today. So
So
right.
fire as a chemical process does not have mass. Flames have mass. Well, what the fuck?
because you're converting energy in the actual
All
going
right.
from the wick to the flame, and you're burning oxygen, but the flame itself will have some mass to it.
The chemical reaction does
Because
not.
remember,
Have,
E equals MC squared. I believe there's some mass in those different wavelengths.
yes.
Get the physics book out.
No.
Fucking Bob.
Well, then, Bob, we should be able to detect it. All those prayers. Oh,
So does the church weigh more the more prayer that's in it?
obviously.
Oh boy, here we go.
So you could just be quiet and ask people to pray or not pray.
See, this wasn't even me, Dave. I didn't even start this one.
This is the best part of it, man. I start and I just sit back and go, okay. All right. Well, that was I had two other small things, but we'll save those for another time, maybe, because we're already at an hour.
Yeah, I was just going to show. I got to get off my ass at some point and find a time for that. So I've done the first half. I did the I guess in a non-haunted location and did the 10 minutes of it. And
Yeah, and
now
thanks to
just got-
Brandon for sending us his presentation that we
I was going to mention that as
I
well.
should say Tim is adjusted to fit his needs.
I did my own voiceover, so
Yep.
yeah, so hopefully that's okay. But thanks to him for doing that. Everything else is the same. But yeah, we got to get into a place that's haunted or allegedly haunted and do the same thing and then mail it out.
Cool.
Awesome.
Then I'll go with one more quick thing, and then we'll see if Kenny's got anything else quick, and then we'll start wrapping it up. But new article that came out in the Journal of Scientific Exploration. This is great. Chandler's answers to questions from scientists, an exploratory study. So they asked people who are mediums / Chandlers. We got some scientific questions for you. So if you could all tap into the same source and let us know what those answers are, we'll put those answers in front of scientists and see what they think. The same scientists that pose the questions. So, I know you're going to find this shocking, but results. The quantitative analysis found a very low correspondence between channeled and non-channeled answers, as hypothesized. So they thought if they were in a channeling mode versus a non-channeling mode, they'd probably get you wouldn't see any differences, which okay. 2, virtually no correspondence for each question across channelers, contrary to what our hypothesis was. There was no correspondence. So the one medium or the channeler, they compared to what the next person said, there's really no correspondence at all. Interestingly enough, they also examined whether they believe they were receiving information from the same source. And they were not. They couldn't even agree on where the source was. So it pretty interesting. Of course, there's some things they need to do better, but
Right.
It's fascinating. They couldn't even agree on where they were getting the information from, and the answers on the science questions were, if there was anything that was spewed out, I think the one scientist was like, yeah, there was nothing useful there. We already know all that. Which is probably impressive that they knew something about a science question anyway. Anyway, it's a long article, but it's fairly interesting.
I saw that posted. You put it on our Facebook.
Yeah.
I think I did.
Mm-hmm.
That or at least the entire journal article or issue of that journal that came out.
Research article. Okay, there it is.
So according to what they found here, Bob, they may have been channel surfing because they couldn't seem to agree on the same channel.
Oh.
Anyway.
Old school. That's when you're like, boy, get up. change the channel.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
my
my
job.
dad. That was my
That was
dad's
my job.
remote control most of my kid life.
Yep.
Yep. Fix
All
the
right.
antenna.
Anything else, Kenny?
I don't think so. I did do I put out a new article like a week or so ago. We had a local news station, Channel 13 in Albany, New York, ran a story. About 2 months ago, there was a 9-year-old girl that was kidnapped, and luckily, happy ending. Where she was found safe, unhurt, returned to her parents. Bad guy arrested, because the bad guy was an idiot, like really stupid. But the news channel did a fluff piece where they credited a local psychic with helping the case. And I contacted the state police, the same people that the reporter contacted, and I got a different story. So if you're interested, you can read the article on skepticalenquirer.org.
I'm not a psychic, but I kind of figure how this is going to turn out.
Very disappointing. It's there's two things that, and I'm going to take a minute here, but there's two things that really piss me off about this, and one, it is a outright exploitation of a child, as far as I'm concerned, because when you read the article and find out what really happened, this psychic had nothing to do with it, but is using this case to sell tickets to her events. And it really is just, I find it disgusting and unethical and just shit. And the second thing that really bothers me is that this news segment took away from the police work that was done that actually solved the case. It was police work, science, forensic science that actually solved this case. It was no mystical thing. It wasn't like a criminal coming in confessing. It was science put to the test, and it succeeded, and it found the person that was responsible and returned this girl to her parents. So
cool.
I really had a hard time, and I had to rewrite the email that I had sent to the reporter and the station manager several times, because I was like, I got to walk away because I'm very angry about this. But I still haven't heard, and luckily people have read my article, and I know at least 3 other people that have sent letters to the news station, the station manager, complaining about this. So I don't think anything's going to come of it, but I hope they, maybe in the future, maybe we should do a little bit more research and not speculate so much. And but that's it. Check it out on skepticalenquirer.org and look it up and read it and make it, popular so my boss likes me.
It's all about the likes.
That's right. But that's all. Yeah. Are we doing announcements too, or are we just?
Yeah, I'll answer this one thing.
Okay.
Are there papers regarding double slit experiment and the paranormal? Yes. So I did. I tried to post them and then realized it runs them all together and post it like 3 times. So that was a freaking disaster. But you can just go to this link and they're all there, and you can look them up and read them.
I think she asked during this is Tori. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you were on Friday night, and I think she asked about this, and I think that's when we started talking about you. Saying that, this is something Dave would know. I don't know.
This one's so easy. We're going to let Dave take care of it.
We're going to throw him a bone here and just you take this one.
You're welcome.
It's easy to find them now. Read them and make sense of them. That's the challenge.
Yeah,
read them.
Abstract, baby.
Abstract. So,
conclusion and discussion.
I think we're good. Unless Tim or Kenny got anything else. No. Closing comments. We just kind of covered what we wanted to tonight. So good stuff as always. Always enjoy talking about different topics, and gave us some time to come up with some short topics to throw out there and tell you what we've been doing. So that's it.
It's just fun to meet up with you guys every month and just talk talk shop and some shit, and
And some
let
shit.
let we do some therapy for Kenny so he can vent, and
Yeah, it's hard, like there's a line here, and it sometimes it gets blurred, but because I have so many friends that are in the paranormal community, and I know like some of my comments that I mean, it's difficult because I know they're into it really big, whether they are on TV or they sell some of the gear that I talk about or write about, and it's I know it's a little strain, but in the end, I will always stay true to myself. If I don't like something, I'm going to say it. And if you don't like that, it's up to you. It's on you, but there's always that strain. And I try not to offend people as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I do go on a rant. Like tonight, I go on a rant, and it's not personal. That's the one thing I think we all need to understand. I think we understand it.
yes,
And most of the people that watch understand it. It's not personal. There's business and personal, and this is my business. And it's not personal. I mean, I will write about your piece of equipment and how much it sucks all day long. But if we meet up somewhere at a conference, and hanging out, I'll buy you a beer, and we can hang out and talk shop. No hard feelings, except if your name's Zach Baggins. That's pretty much it.
or if you have the most haunted house in Connecticut.
Oh, I gotta get up there.
Get those shots in. Very good. All right. So, Tim, any quick closing comments? Or are we ready to move into Kenny's list of appearances?
I don't have a lot.
I ended mine. I said mine, just how happy it is just to see you guys once a month and swap ideas, and
it's fun. We always have a good time. So I'll start because it'll be short. First Wednesday of every month, 3 Tortured Souls. With these guys, have a great time. As Tim said, we have a lot of fun. I think we have just as much fun as we go back and forth in the messengers to messages when we're on Messenger, trying to figure out what the hell we're going to talk about. But I do have something. January 20th, I will be at the Hanover Tavern. They're having a Paracon, talking on the paper that we published.
Oh,
and Brandon Masulo will also be there, and he will be speaking. So we're probably going to spend, I don't know, we're kind of talking back and forth. We might go out a little early and kind of hang out for the weekend.
That's cool.
It's at the historic Hanover Tavern.
So be sure
Virginia. I think that's in West Virginia.
You're going to be here?
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
Damn.
Uh-oh.
I was going to hold off to not tell you, but I thought I better. You might get mad at me.
Oh, I'm going to I'm coming. I'm going to heckle y'all.
Cool.
And I'm y'all.
That's all right. I'll you give me too much shit. I'm going to be, just ask that guy how many years of statistics he took. 2 years. He knows stats. Well, he knows
like that paper
stats 101 really well.
Like that paper sucks, and you'll be like, you're on it. That's how I know it sucks.
Anyway, so if you guys can make it out, that'd be fun.
Awesome.
Oh, if it's in West Virginia, I have to go.
When is this again?
January 20th.
January 20th.
It's at the historic.
If I'm not snowed in, I might try to make that.
Hanover
Tavern.
Hanover Tavern.
I think if you type in historic Hanover Tavern, it comes up.
In Hanover?
Probably.
That's in Virginia.
What? Hanover Tavern in Hanover?
I know
it's in Virginia. Ironic. Oh my God.
It's not West Virginia?
No, let me explain something. There was
sorry.
There was this war in 1863 that ended. After that war,
you're right.
We became our own state.
A little sore about that still?
Since 1863.
Bitter.
We're used to it here.
It's all right. I'm well north of that Mason-Dixon line. I know who won, Tim.
Yep. That's how we are west, because we went north.
Yeah, I mean, really, Bob, the difference is like an average of 1 tooth per person. That's really the only difference.
Oh, I'm not.
So yes, sorry, my bad. It is in Virginia.
Well, still, that's still close. If it's
It's
still
pretty close to you, though.
Yeah, down by Richmond, right? Richmond, Virginia. That's kind of far, but we'll see. All right, you good? My turn.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
All right. So coming up this next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday, the 15th, is the winter solstice party. There's registration online. I think it's like $20, but it's a catered event. So there's dinner, there's activities. I'll be giving tours of the facility here because everything's in here. It's a really fun time. I went last year. I also went to their summer solstice party, and it was awesome. It's put on by the Western New York branch. They do a really good job with food and with the activities and stuff. And there's some stuff for kids, so it's family friendly. If you want to come out, I'll be posting links so you can register if you're interested. What else? I have interview. Oh, I have an interview next. Or wait, the 13th on Sasquatchers. I'm going to be doing a podcast of talking about Bigfoot, but I don't know what I'm going to be talking about. So we'll see how that goes. January 18th, I believe, we're going to have a lecture. We're going to start a lecture series here because of the eclipse. April 8th of 2024 is a total eclipse. Buffalo, as long as it's not cloudy, we are dead center in the path of totality.
Nice.
So this is like a once in a lifetime event for people like me that don't travel around the world to look for these things. So we're having all kind of festivities here. We're going to have actual on April 8th. We're going to have an all day family friendly tailgate event where we're going to have activities, lectures, documentaries being shown. We have glasses to give out. We're going to have kids making solar viewers. So like pinhole cameras. We're going to show you how to make a pinhole camera so you can view the sun without hurting your eyes. All kinds of stuff. But it kicks off January 18th. We're going to have my editor, Ben Radford, here. He's going to do a lecture at the center on folklore and how it ties into eclipses. Which may include like werewolves and stuff like that. So I'm actually looking forward to it. Sounds like a fun lecture. But that's about it for now because there's so much else in the works that I don't want to get ahead of myself. So there you go. I know in September of next year, the Pennsylvania Bigfoot camping weekend is back on. I'm going to be a speaker there, which should be interesting. That's the first time I'm going to speak at a Bigfoot conference. So hopefully they don't shoot me. Anyway,
it's going to depend on where you are.
The same place you went to. That was the first time Tim and I met in person.
Yeah.
At this event. So
yeah.
More details to follow. And that's it.
All right. Sounds good. Well, let's see. Who is up next? Are we back to Tim?
No,
Kenny.
No? Is it
me?
Yeah,
Damn.
Kenny.
Damn. All right. I'm going to try this week and think about a topic before like the week of the show.
That would be good considering at least I do. I don't know about you two, but I have a fair amount of time off around Christmas and New Year. So good time for prep work if we're going to have a show that's going to require that.
January 3rd will be the next show.
Yep.
And we'll see about topics. Do I have any ideas? Because usually I keep like a little list, like a checklist of topics that I want to do. And but we'll see. Well, I'll think about it later. A week off.
Night before.
Yeah, the night before. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. What's the topic we haven't covered? I'm going to put it out to everyone that's watching. The 6 people that are still watching, or 5 minus Tim because he's probably in there.
Sorry.
Give us topics. Give us topics right now while the credits roll. give us topics that you would want us to talk about because we'll still see the
Yeah.
comments.
Oh,
So there you go.
Give us something that you want to test.
Something to test or a topic
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we'll come
There
up
you
with
go.
something.
Give us 4
Might
or
not
5
be accurate or valid, but we'll come up with something.
I don't know what the hell we're talking about, but we'll come up with something.
Yeah, we'll figure it
That's
out.
right.
All right, so put them in the comments as we close out. If we don't see anything or nothing that we want to cover, we'll put an announcement out on our Facebook page, and then we'll recruit topics again. And then if you still don't have anything, it's up to Kenny.
Damn it.
So, all right,
I like
guys,
that idea.
good to see you. Good idea for the next possible show. So that'll be good. Everybody have a good holiday season in whatever way you celebrate it. Enjoy. And we will see you in about a month.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Bye.
guys. Take care.
And we'll let you say